Hello everybody, Dan here from Alsgades Køreskole. So today we're going to run through all the questions that you will have to answer regarding towards the car at your driving test. So we will start with our lights of the car, but before we do, there are a couple of things that we need to know. So in general, all the lights should be without any damages, and it should be all clean, and every bulb should be fully functional. We will start with the lights at the front of the car, and to start off we have our positioning lights. So you will have to find the contact inside the car to check those. So the positioning lights, they should be visible from 300 meters of a distance, and you have 2 bulbs at the front of the car and also 2 bulbs at the back of the car that you will have to check at your driving test. Next off, we're going to check the low beam lights, and we have to find our low beam lights contact inside the car, and then we have 2 low beams at the front of the car. So the low beams should lighten up the roads at least 30 meters in front of the car, and they should be color-wise white or yellowish, and they should lighten up asymmetrical to the right hand side, and it should degrade with 1% per 1 meter. And we can actually check that without any tools required. So to check that, we simply just stand in front of the car, measure the top of the lights with our finger, and then we move 1 meter away from the car, and then the top of the light should then degrade with 1 centimeter. Moving on towards the high beam lights. So our high beam lights, we will require 2 high beam lights that should be able to lighten up the road at least 100 meters of a distance, and color-wise they should be white or yellowish. Next off, we have the indicators. So we have 6 indicators, 3 on each side, 2 at the front, 2 at the side, 2 at the back. They should be color-wise yellow, and they should blink 1 to 2 times every second, and they should be visible in broad daylight. Next off, we have our hazard lights. So when we turn on our hazard lights, all 6 indicators should indicate at the same time. And we use our hazard lights if there's a traffic jam on the highway or if there's an accident. At the back of the car, we have 2 rear lights. They should be red, and they should be visible of 300 meters of a distance. At the back of the car, we also have 3 stop lights. So the stop lights should be red, and we will have 3 of those, and they should be approximately around 3 to 4 times brighter than your rear lights. So at the driving test, you will have the examiner to push on the brake pedal for you, and while you as a student will go towards the back of the car to make sure that your brake lights are working properly. At the back of the car, we do have some license plate lights, and the license plate lights themselves should be color-wise white, and you will require a minimum of 1 bulb. The license plate itself should also be clean and readable. At the back, we will require some reflectors. So we will require at least 2 reflectors at the back. Color-wise, they should be red. They're not allowed to be triangled, but any other shape is okay, but not triangled reflectors. Next off, we have our brake pedal. So the brake pedal should have a non-slip surface, and also we have to check for free play. So there's not allowed to be any free play, and to check the brake pedal for free play, we simply just try to push with our foot to either side, and there shouldn't be any movement on the brake pedal at all. And whenever we depress the brake pedal, it shouldn't go all the way down to the bottom. So make sure to press it very hard and make sure that it doesn't go all the way down to the floor. Next off, we have to check our brake booster. With the engine turned off, we start pressing our brake pedal a couple of times until we feel that our brake pedal gets firm, and then we keep our foot on the brakes, depress the clutch, turn on the engine. When our engine is turned on, we should then feel that the brake pedal moves further down and stops before hitting the bottom. At the test, you will have to check the steering for any free play. So in order to check for free play, we will have to turn on the engine first. While the engine is turned on, we can then start moving our steering wheel a little bit. When we start turning the steering wheel a little bit, we should then see our wheels move at the same time. That means there shouldn't be any delay at all. Once the engine is turned on, we should also be able to check the power steering. So in order to check our power steering, we will have to turn the steering wheel from side to side. And when we turn our steering wheel from side to side, it should move freely and without any resistance, and it should not make any sound while turning. Next off, we have our tires, wheels and wheel bearings. They should be undamaged. Speaking of the tire thread, they should be worn evenly. And then we have our tire wear indicator, which should be at least 1.6 millimeters according to the law. Our tires should be fitted in the same type of tires. So either we run them on summer tires, winter tires, or all-season tires. And also another thing is the tire pressure. The tire pressure, you can find that in the owner's manual. We also need to check a couple of things underneath the bonnet. To open the bonnet, we will have to locate our lever, which is located right down here. So we pull this lever and go out to the front of the car. Locate the safety lever underneath the bonnet. Get your pin, put it where it needs to go, so that the bonnet can hold itself. Afterwards, there are a couple of fluids which we will have to check. And we will start off with our brake fluid, which is located right here. Our brake fluid, it needs to be topped off in between the maximum and the minimum requirements. Then we have to check our coolant. So we will have to locate our coolant reservoir, and the coolant reservoir should be topped off between the maximum and the minimum requirements. Next off, we have our wiper fluid. So our wiper fluid, we need to make sure that it's topped off so we can go for our next journey. So in this case, we have a dipstick, so we can manually check it. But usually there is an indicator inside the dashboard telling you when to top it off. At the test, we will also need to check our wipers and sprinklers. In order to do so, we have to pull the lever towards ourselves, and we can then see that the wipers are functioning and the sprinklers are working as they should. You should also be able to check your engine oil level, and to do so, we have to pull out our dipstick. And once we have taken that one out, we wipe it off with either a paper towel or a rag. Make sure that it's all cleaned up. Once we have cleaned it up, we put it down again. And then we pull it back out again. And then once we have done that, we can then check our oil level. And it needs to be filled up in between the maximum and the minimum requirements. As far as the engine bay goes, it needs to be all nice and clean and without any oil leakage. Next off, we have our shock absorbers. So we have in total of 4 shock absorbers, 2 in the front and 2 in the back. When we have to check our shock absorbers in the front, we will then have to open our bonnet, and then we find a solid place where we can apply a little bit of pressure. So once we apply a little bit of pressure and release the pressure, the car should then get up to its original position again. So to check our shock absorbers in the back, first off we have to open the boot. And then we find a solid place where we can apply pressure. And once I push down and release, the car should get back to its original position. To close the bonnet again, we then grab our one hand and then we grab our pin here and put it down into its position. And then we gently just grab our bonnet and then approximately 10 centimeters before the closing point, we just let go. Next off, we have our exhaust system. Our exhaust system should be mounted underneath the car with straps. And to check that, we can use our foot by just going and to see if we can wiggle it a little bit, making sure that it doesn't fall down to the ground. We also need to check our exhaust system for unnecessary exhaust gases and unnecessary noise. So to do that, we will have to turn on the engine and get the examiner to rev the engine while you as a student stand in the back and listen for any unnecessary noise and unnecessary exhaust gases. And lastly, we have to check our horn, and we activate it and we listen and see if it's a clear and constant tone. That's it for today, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video and see you in the next one.